Welcome everyone, Questini here with a discussion about the AI, the Ivory Road, and unusual locations in Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires patch 5.2. Let's start with unusual locations and how they work exactly. Well, it's pretty simple. Certain locations in the game have a chance, if you will, to spawn an unusual location. And the way this works is that you get these unusual locations in certain settlements. You don't lose, say, an outpost or an undercity and all that. Instead, you just get an extra tab over here at the bottom. And what this does is offer certain benefits. As an example, over here, I'm getting 5% tradable resources and income from all buildings in the local region. That's pointless, because obviously it's in the Turtle Gate, but 5% tradable resources is useful, as well as 1 unit garrison of miners. At least that's what it's saying, though it does seem like it isn't actually part of the garrison, though that's probably because, you know, I already have 20 units over there in that particular settlement. But it is just worth pointing out how that is playing out with respect to the unusual locations. Fairly simple, can be some benefits. There are some, based on what Creative Assembly showed in their blog or in their patch notes, that can have a downside or a trade-off, if you will. But the ones I've seen playing this campaign and playing a campaign as Ungram do have benefits. Not necessarily significant benefits, not something you're going to say, oh, I really need to get that, but certainly some benefits. They do seem to be pretty rare, but they do happen. And I'm actually surprised a bit that this did happen in Cafe, though it seems like this one is a dwarf one, basically. And chance for events to trigger related to this location. Interesting. I haven't had an event with that. Okay, so that's the unusual locations, fairly simple to understand. Let's talk about caravans. For Cafe, what's changed, how they play out. Well, we do have more locations to send caravans for. For instance, we have Giro, we have Nuln as some examples. Over there, we have Barak Var added as locations there. So nothing necessarily too unusual with respect to that. We do have more items. In fact, I've collected a significant number of items, courtesy of the caravans, or certainly some items over here from the caravans. Nothing, again, especially great, but we do have, like, say, for instance, Bretonnian items, as well as more Dwarven items available as well. Now, the way the caravans themselves work is that you can get up to 3 caravans if you're playing Xiaoming, up to 2 caravans if you're playing anyone else. So initially, everyone has at least 1 caravan if you're playing a Cafe campaign. Xiaoming gets an extra one, and there is also the Widened Roads Edict, or the Widened Roads Research, which does take a fairly long time, so I wouldn't necessarily prioritize this, but this gives you an extra caravan and 10% extra caravan cargo capacity. Would have been nicer to have, say, more cargo capacity on various caravans, but certainly they drop off in the late game, but well, this change, in particular, the fact that Xiaoming does have an extra caravan, just may or may not make him far more powerful than he was before. Certainly, Yanbo is still the strongest Legendary Lord of Cathay. Like, Matters of State is just unparalleled in terms of its power. Beyond that, they have stated that you do get a unit when you complete a caravan. So over here, for instance, I've gotten organ guns, I've gotten a snow leopard in this one, I've gotten great cannons in this one, and of course you still have the noble events, though they have changed those events around to a certain extent. What do I mean by that? Well, when we're looking at those events, like you can get questing knights, Akshinas, all that kind of stuff, right? Hellstorm rocket batteries in caravans, the feeling when your caravan armies can be even stronger than your main armies, regardless of that aspect. What have they changed with the events? Because the Cafean caravan events used to be that you would occasionally be ambushed by ogres, but that was it for the most part. Well, you still get ambushed occasionally by a small ogre party, though that is far more rare. Instead, you may get ambushed by a fairly massive ogre army that will actually put up a fight. You can still lose units, or more often than not, in a lot of cases, I've seen myself with the choice of either losing cargo or fighting an army. Now, generally, it's beneficial if you can defeat the army because obviously more gold from that perspective, more experience. But basically, when you do have a fight, for the most part, it will be a tougher fight. You're not going to have a fight every single time you send out the caravan. And the caravans themselves are going to be more rewarding, and the armies attached to the caravans are going to be more powerful. So that's it. Extra caravan slots, different events, different rewards, more destinations. That is how the caravan system works. Okay, let's talk about the meat of this patch, because it's not the deeps for the dwarves. It's not the ivory roads or the cults. Rather, I would say the most important aspect of this particular patch is the AI. And oh boy, is the AI very different. So Creative Assembly has done two things, or rather three things. One, they've given AI more experience based on the patch notes. So if I'm looking just at some of these armies, like he's rank 3, he's rank 4, like keep in mind this is turn 3 and Miao Ying has not been fighting for this campaign, but she's still rank 11. Like she only fought her initial enemy and then she's been just basically chilling. I think she may have defeated the Beastman. Work to do. But then we look at Gelt, rank 20. Rank 1. So it seems that the AI does get a good amount of experience benefits in their armies. Like I know for a fact, like Gelt's barely been fighting anyone, and it hasn't been armies like this. It has been his main army. So that's a nice thing. Second thing that I've noticed is that the AI is using its heroes far more often. So if you look at this army, it has one of each type for each hero attached to this army. I can't really look at his rank by looks of it, but you can see that he does have certain abilities. So these are not level 1 heroes, and the fact that they are heroes attached to our army is good, because there is a tendency for the AI before the patch, there was a tendency for AI to just not use its heroes. I mean, Gelt does still have some heroes he's not using, but it's only 2 heroes he's not using. Everyone else is attached to an army one way or another. Obviously, you know, he's got a wizard over here. For instance, he's got his initial captain over here. So that's great. And this doesn't just apply to a couple of factions, applies to everyone. So, you know, you see Nurgle over there, or let's look at Grimgor, who's right now really, really freaking powerful. Imagine conquering all of Cafe Xiaoming and then having to deal with that. Yeah, but yeah, you look at Grimgor, he's got at least one hero, if not multiple heroes. Yeah, I'm saying one side, but he has at least one hero attached to every single army, and he's recruiting more of them. So he's got casters in every single army, or the vast majority of his armies. Or we look at Emmerich, you know, you see a mage, you see a noble, you see another noble over there that's probably going to be attached to another army, though he only has 2 armies at this point, though Emmerich seems to be winning in this particular case. Ongrim, at the very least 1 hero. Skarsnik, again, like, we can easily see a hero, 2 heroes, multiple heroes. And this just keeps repeating across the board, right? So we're seeing a lot of heroes all over the board. That's good, that's going to make fights more interesting, and these are not low-ranked heroes. I mean, she just unlocked her legendary hero over there. Makes sense, right? In that particular case. I think there was an army I could show, like, yeah, you can see over here, like, Karl Franz has 3 heroes in his army. That is one thing. So the usage of heroes is very important, more experience. Very important, makes the AI more relevant, especially as the campaign drags on. But very important is the build order of the AI. Because if we look at this army, right? So Gelt has a bunch of weak armies, but these were his initial armies, his early game armies that he recruited initially. But then we look at an army like this, where he's got a lot of halberdiers, great swords, and a lot of huntsmen. This is not a bad army. Like, I would use this army if I was playing an Empire campaign. I wouldn't have that many, you know, that many war wagons with mortars, but it's not a bad army. You can use it, and it would be a pretty decent one. Or looking at this army, you see great swords, you see crossbowmen, you see war wagons with mortars. That is good. And having played both this campaign and a campaign as Ungrim, I can tell you that I will attack you with a lot of units. By the way, new goblins. Yeah, just different shade of the regular goblins. Have a bronze shield. That's really going to be the main use for these guys. I wonder if I can find a regular goblin to make some kind of comparison. Doesn't seem like it. But yeah. I mean, the AI doesn't just instantly recruit heroes, but they seem to be getting experience over time for those. So the AI is recruiting bigger and better units. But what's very important with respect to this is the global recruitment change. This is a campaign that, even though I'm using unresolved mods for the sake of it, this campaign that's on legendary difficulty. So in this, with Iron Man turned off, everything else vanilla, just auto-resolve and toggle fog of war for the sake of demonstration, right? And the AI gets those global recruitment benefits. Specifically, not the slots, but the speed. So the AI is able to recruit units through global recruitment faster, like pretty much instantly, a lot of them. And while this obviously won't help someone like the Dark Elves, you combine that global recruitment benefit together with their higher priority for higher tier units, and you end up with a bunch of higher quality armies in general that you're gonna have to deal with one way or another. Like, look at this army. It's Biggins, Squigs, Trolls, River Trolls. And I would not be surprised, like, you look at this particular army, right? Let me just recruit the Lorem, maybe I can get some more vision. You know, you see Squigs, you see Stone Trolls, you see Biggins. Oh, by the way, regular Goblins over there. Seems that they're really not that different. Except, like, obviously this is an anti-large benefit. Weapon strength 23. Weapon strength 26, but losing that anti-large. And what's melee attack? 37 in that particular army, though. That is buffed, but much higher melee attack on those guys, though. It's probably some skill or research or something along those lines. So higher tier units, you combine the higher priority of recruitment for the AI with a global recruitment benefit, you're going to be dealing with a lot more armies to begin with. 2, the AI will recruit far better units and with heroes. So suffice to say, the AI is significantly more challenging because the quality of the troops that it does present against you is a pretty big deal. One of the reasons people have been able to get away with, you know, playing high elves and only recruiting archers and spearmen is because the AI recruitment was bad. And yes, occasionally you would meet one high quality army or two high quality armies, rarely, but you had such an experience benefit and such high ranking generals that you'd win. When every army is high quality, that changes the nature of the game. It forces people to worry about recruiting higher tier units in their campaigns. I mean, look at Belegar over here, right? He's conquering the entirety of freaking Alpha Lorem, and he has 4 stacks of troops. And this is turn 30. That's not even the most extreme example. Keep in mind this. Again, this is just vanilla legendary. No AI mods, nothing that's changing the behavior of the AI. Okay, let me show you the more extreme. This is freaking bullshit. Freaking Manfred with 7 stacks. Now, likely these are all spearmen and, you know, skeletal warriors, but 7 freaking stacks. Holy shit. Or Vlad. This is disgusting. You look at Vlad. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, geez. So there's 4 armies. 6, 7, 8. Enjoy dealing with Vlad von Karstein, ladies and gentlemen, because he is coming. He is coming. So it seems like the global recruitment benefits aren't just for the sake of, aren't just in terms of like global recruitment as we understand it. You know, we know the vampire counts get the raise dead benefit. Guess who's using that? Also, if other AI factions are recruiting more and more armies, that does benefit the AI of the vampire counts when they're dealing with them, because they will use that raise dead mechanic. So I would not want to be fighting freaking Vlad over here in this particular case, or Kemmler, who apparently is... Yeah, he's fighting Bretonia by the looks of it. No, actually, yes, he is fighting Bretonia. Interesting thing about Bretonia, though, like, it's not just like, oh, they have recruiting better troops, but, like, you look at Lewin, he's got most of Bretonia under his control, and he's kind of winning over here. I can't see what his troops were, but you can see that he has heroes in 2 of those armies at the very least. Where is a third? I don't see any other armies. Okay. Bellicor? Yep, heroes over there. Rank 2 general over there, but yeah, I want to deal with that, gotta tell you. Or Leafanar apparently has been mercilessly put down. One of the things I can tell you about, like, Bretonia, I allied the Fey Enchantress in my own Grim campaign, and she was spamming questing knights against Grom, and it's like, well, goodbye Grom in that case.
We have met before.
In that particular situation.
Of the lady.
Very importantly, though, the construction order has been changed. So the AI is prioritizing getting higher tier capitals, and using Grimgor as an example, let's just consider Grimgor, because this is an endgame crisis at turn 30. You look at Grimgor. He started with the barracks over here in Eagle Ears. He's apparently gotten rid of that. He's built a garrison. He's built squig cages. He's got barracks in his main settlement. He's building the big fort. He's got shamans. He's got getting shaman recruitment. He's getting stone troll recruitment. And the intelligent thing that the AI is actually doing here, yes, Grimgor has a couple of recruitment structures elsewhere, but you look at some of the other settlements, he's mainly building income, which will benefit him. So it seems like he's chosen, like, okay, I'll maximize my income and then, you know, maximize my recruitment. Jeez, that's a lot of heroes that Grimgor is going to have in this particular situation over here. Ooh. It seems also Astrogoth is beating the crap out of Malachi. Ooh, ouch, ouch. Yeah, I've seen this happen before, so, yeah. Poor Malachi, he's dead. He literally is dead. There's no chance. And I would be betting that these armies would be higher tier units. And rank 17, not really bad at all over there. And we see this with, like, smart recruitment. Like, look at Altdorf as an example, right? We're seeing stables, we're seeing a barracks, we're seeing artillery, we're seeing mages, we're seeing Reichsguard recruitment. So basically, Karl has pretty much every single unit type recruitment in his capital over there. Skarsnik, you know, shamans, trolls, stone trolls. Yeah, Skarsnik's stakes. So he's got the garrison building over there. He does have tier 4 barracks built over there, and he also has the recruitment available. He's built a landmark over here in Carrick 8 Peaks. He's taken it. He's built a landmark, so he actually has orc recruitment, though he seems to not be upgrading that at the moment. So you end up in the situation where the AI is just going to throw a lot of armies at you of higher tier units, and the meta that's existed, where you could get away with a lot of low tier stuff. Yeah, you will get away with it early on, but let me just say it like this. I am not beating Grimgor with peasant archers or even Jade warriors. Like, yeah, obviously this army would be able to win because experience, all the heroes I have here. But for other armies, secondary armies, the real challenge, if you will, is with secondary armies, tertiary armies. So you need higher tier armies, and honestly, I would not win against Grimgor with this. And keep in mind, I've already dealt with one of his stacks, but he's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 armies. It seems to me that a combination of various benefits to upkeep, for instance, construction costs and all that, different priorities, has really unleashed the potential of the AI in a way we haven't seen before. Because it used to be that in a lot of cases, the AI would be limited on how many armies it would recruit. Like, rarely would you see the AI getting more, let's say, than 4 armies, even with this amount of territory. I mean, Grimgor was always the exception, but still, yeah, it was pretty rare. But now, you know, I look at these factions, I'm seeing a lot of factions on this map that do have many armies available to them. Sure, there are still factions that don't have as many armies, but like, I don't think I even want to count how many freaking armies. Okay, it's not too ridiculous. So he's got 3 armies for...
Infused by Hoet's wisdom.
6. Tyrion has 6 armies. Enjoy invading Wolf 1 when Tyrion is waiting for you with 6 full stacks, and you know they're gonna be higher tier, because yeah, guess what? He's gonna wait you. He's gonna recruit Sisters of Avalon, Shadow Warriors, Dragons. Jeez. Well, Alfarian, 4 armies over there. Well, goodbye, Sinnelleos. What can I say? Alariel is actually the weakest. She has like 4 armies or 3.5 really over there. Would be nice to be able to see what they have, but yeah, you can bet it's gonna be quite substantial. Or freaking Hellebron. Though it does seem like the Dark Elves kind of got the short end of the stick. Like, you see Hellebron, you see Malekith, they don't have any Black Arcs, they don't have the benefits, so they can only do land recruitment. Maybe an idea would be that Dark Elves get extra recruitment slots by default, or maybe the AI of the Dark Elves should just get global recruitment, because clearly they're not using their Black Arcs the way they should be, right? A couple of global recruitment slots, and let's not go too crazy over there, because they're already a nightmarish thing to deal with as it is. Kislev surprisingly is doing well here, though keep in mind the RNG over there. Actually, they're doing incredibly well. Boris is beating the crap out of Archeon. In fact, he's won pretty much. Like, it's just down to the Howling Citadel over there. Once that's done, it's GG. And look at what Boris has. Like, he has the ability of getting War Slids, Things in the Woods, Sargard, Frostworms. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff. Or, you know, we look at Katrin, right? She's got Kislev City. She's getting Ice Guard. She's pushing towards that Ice Guard benefit. And she's got multiple armies over here. Don't know what they are, but still pretty substantial. Like, virtually every settlement that I started with is tier 4. Every single one of them. Not sure if any of them would be tier 5, but don't think so. Like, if the Greenskins don't have it, if Bretonia and the Greenskins don't have it, no one has it, right? Tier 4 by turn 30 is pretty decent. So, to me, while I would need to play a campaign properly, because I did rush this, so this is not really a proper campaign, I would need to play a campaign properly to see how all of this plays out. I gotta say, what I'm seeing right here is very good. I'll let you know after I do a lot more testing how it actually is. Probably just gonna record and play some campaigns. Let me know what you'd be interested in actually watching. Maybe the Dwarves, Riley, Forgrim, or Belagar. Rush for Caracade Peaks, try and make it my formidable stronghold. We'll see. Kostin, signing out.